politicians lost their minds? Is Washington nuts? The government already delaying death benefits for the families of dozens of fallen soldiers until you all screamed holy hell about it, and then it got fixed. But now it's about to get worse.
This administration has made life so difficult for our veterans.
Shouldn't we be embarrassed about this? Shouldn't we be ashamed?
I went in 1940 and got out in 45.
42 to 45.
I was on Peleliu and Okinawa.
This hearing will come to order.
If the shutdown does not end in the coming weeks, VA will not be able to assure delivery of 1 November checks to more than 5.18 million beneficiaries.
Disability compensation, pension, education, vocational rehabilitation, and employment benefits will be suspended due to lack of funding.
Including veterans who are 100% disabled, surviving spouses, eligible children, orphaned by the death of their military or veteran parent.
Compensation payments for more than 3.8 million veterans will not be made in the month of November. Will the President push for creative measures to help those?
Peter, my answer is the same. There are so many consequences of shutdown. Congress has a responsibility to resolve all of them with one vote in the House of Representatives that would receive a majority. Open the government.
Ryan Lamke is on temporary retirement from the U.S. Marine Corps. He is also an ambassador for the Armed Forces Foundation. He joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Pleasure to see you, ma'am.
All right, so what's going on with the vets? We've had the one problem where for 9 days we didn't fund the death benefits for the families, and we also didn't pay for the families to travel to pick up the remains of their loved ones. What else is happening with the vets?
Well, if we're looking at a shutdown of all veterans benefits on 1 November, you're going to face a major problem with individuals having financial stability. In some markets, you have upwards of 20% veterans unemployment. You have individuals who are so severely disabled that they're unable to work whatsoever, so they need those veterans benefits just to make ends meet. It's not like they're making a huge savings account off those basic benefits. And so with the loss of income that comes from those basic compensation and pension benefits, you're going to have individuals who are hitting severe financial strain come
right.
November.
Yeah, now, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Shinseki, has actually testified to this, so he's not keeping this one hidden, this problem hidden, right? I mean, he's put it right out there for people to see.
Yes, ma'am, he has.
And so at least that's a good thing. I mean, one of the problems we have with the death gratuity is that nobody told us about it.
That's very true. It is very well known, and veterans groups like the Armed Forces Foundation are stepping up and, one, getting their voice heard, but two, also stepping up to provide funding in direct assistance grants, the Bill and Beverly Young financial grants that are going to be assisting the individuals who are incapable of paying their own bills come 1 November.
All right, but even before November 1st, we've got the situation where since the 1st of October, there have been people furloughed who process claims, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And there's been a consequence there.
On average, since the furlough of all VA employees began about a week ago, you're facing about 1,400 claims not being processed per day.
That's the slowdown.
That's already slowing down and adding on to the backlog that already exists.
All right, so if we're on October 10th, that's 14,000 behind, where we ordinarily would be.
Yes, ma'am.
And before that, how were we doing on claims? Even before that, I mean, we have a backlog to begin with, right?
The backlog was already almost insurmountable in the concept of getting up to date in any foreseeable future. Veterans in the most extreme cases are waiting up to 2 years to see their basic disability benefits being paid out.
What are the veterans saying? I mean, because, you know, you all volunteered, and, you know, when we asked you to help, you were right there for us. Now when you come back, if you're injured, and even you have a Purple Heart, if you're injured, we say what, later?
We'll get it to you when we can.
What's the reaction? I mean, I don't think the American people are too happy with that.
I can't imagine they are, and it's evident through the support that they're giving to organizations like the Armed Forces Foundation that do provide that kind of financial assistance in that meantime. You know, organizations such as AFF are so capable of filling that gap. However, that gap should not exist in the first place.
Is there a sense of bitterness, though? I mean, or do you just feel like we abandoned you? And is that how, I mean, I know it's terrible to generalize about all veterans. People have different experiences and feel differently. But among some, do they feel abandoned?
In some extreme cases, I'm sure they do. Again, I can't speak for all veterans, but I'm sure there are many who do feel like the government has kind of turned their back.
And this is even before the shutdown is with all those backlog in the claims.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that happen?
Well, the large numbers of veterans' claims that are being processed, most of them are coming in via paper. Some of them that are being submitted online still need to be vetted. It is a long process with veterans' benefits where an individual has to go through medical evaluations through the Department of Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Benefits Administration then has to look through the VA schedule of rating disabilities and determine that, yes, this individual does meet the qualifications for a specific percentage.
Ryan, thank you, and I hope that changes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
It took you, the American people, speaking out to get Congress and President Obama to restore death benefits to military families. Why did it come to that? Representative Michele Bachmann joins us. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Greta.
All right, October 1st was a shutdown, but it really did take the American people to raise holy hell that, that these death benefits weren't being paid.
Well, that's right, and we thought that it was all taken care of, and then we found out from the Obama administration, they said they had no legal authority to pay out the benefits. So we immediately put a bill on the floor. We were told it was going to be vetoed by Harry Reid. We couldn't believe it, but we put it on the floor anyway. We have passed veterans benefits in the House. We've also passed this specific death benefit guarantee as well, because I think that in your last interview with Ryan, I think it's very key. People were extremely upset when we left our soldiers on the field in Benghazi. Now we're looking at leaving the remains of soldiers literally on the field overseas. We can't leave our disabled veterans without their benefits here in the homeland. That can't be done. That's why we passed the legislation. It's got to be signed, and it has to be implemented.
You know, we're treating all the vets, even before October 1, as second-class citizens.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, we'll get to you later. Yet when we ask them to help us, to go over and fight, they treat us like first-class citizens. They stepped up and did it. I mean, it's appalling to me the way we treat them.
It's beautifully stated the way that you did it. That you said that we, the American people, are treated as first-class citizens, and
By
they are
them,
not.
by them.
By
By
the
them.
veterans.
Yes.
And we aren't treating them similarly situated. This isn't a problem that we weren't familiar with. It's just horrific how old-fashioned the benefit system is in the VA. They still use paper to process these claims as opposed to putting it online, dealing with it digitally. This system...
Yeah, but fix it. Get it done. Everyone knows knows that's a problem, and it should be a priority. You know, when we mobilize them because of some, a 9/11 or something else, when we mobilize them...
Because of a threat.
Yeah, this is 9/11 for them. This is their whole lives. This is their homes, their lives. It's 9/11 for them, and we're just sort of like, later.
That is what's unconscionable. That's why we passed the bill in the House on veterans benefits. We passed the bill in the House on dealing with their actual remains, and also to help the families of these disabled veterans.
Well, we also have to that
be
backlog,
fast track.
But we also have to. But even before, I mean, actually, in some ways, this is good for them because it puts the spotlight on the fact that even before the shutdown on October 1st, they had this incredible backlog of claims against the government, and the government's not hearing them.
Well, and that's why the suffering that the veterans have gone through, that suffering, I believe, is going to help subsequent benefits, because this is unconscionable. Now the American people are paying attention. They won't stand for us not being as giving and kind and generous as our veterans deserve.
And boy, my hat goes off to the American people who were so upset when they heard about the death benefits and the families not being able to meet the remains, because they really did raise hell with emails and calls and everything else, and it got changed.
It's not political, it's personal.
And it's also the decent thing to do.
The decent and patriotic.
Indeed.
That's right.
Congressman, always nice to see you.
Thank you.